Forum, continuing our conversation with Kathryn Watson, investigative reporter for watchdog.org. So, Kathryn, the relatively sleepy town of Lawrenceville, Virginia, the longtime home of St. Paul's College. You mentioned before the break the college shuttered up. Nobody was there. And the Fed said, Lawrenceville and that abandoned campus, that is the place where we need to put a group of those illegal juveniles who came in from Central America. Before the break, you told us that the school and the feds have kind of collaborated on a housing discrimination complaint. How much weight will this carry? Do you think that the feds will move in accelerated fashion against Lawrenceville and the county sheriff down there?
Sure. Well, it's actually a nonprofit fair housing group that had decided to go ahead with some sort of complaint and then kind of looped the college into it and figured it would be a stronger complaint that way. But it's hard to know how far or how fast the Civil Rights Office is going to move with this. It will be very interesting to see if there are any other cases around the country where something like this happens, if they spark any sort of ideas with any other organizations around the country where any similar things have happened. But it's hard to know how fast this is going to go. It'll be very interesting to see how the merit is determined, because there wasn't technically any official vote or anything like that coming from the town council, the county, that basically made the federal government back off. It was, from everything I understand from conversations with these folks, the federal government, the day after this town hall took place, decided to say, you know what, we're going to back off on this one and renege the contract.
Well, it's interesting, and as you mentioned that, quote, local nonprofit, the only thing that perks my ears up is the realization that ACORN, the now defunct advocacy group, did a lot of, quote, housing work, and so sometimes nonprofits have a political agenda, and so I'm just wondering about possible synergy between this, quote, local nonprofit group and the federal government.
Sure. I mean, it's hard to pin any specific connections, but of course it's always a possibility that there are other motives on a related but unconnected note in terms of making any connections. Former, or I should say current U.S. Senator Tim Kaine actually served on the board of this fair housing group until December of 2013, actually. So he was still technically on the board even while he was essentially beginning his term as senator.
Interesting. Obviously, it requires more investigation, and that's why you're the investigative reporter. Kathryn Watson with watchdog.org. Listen, come back and update us on this story and others of its type that you find occurring around the country, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you very much, Kathryn. Changing gears now to remember an American civil rights activist, a lady cited by Congress as the first lady of civil rights, Rosa Parks. And it all began because she didn't want to move to the back of the bus. That's the subject of this American moment.
Her name is synonymous with the struggle for equal rights throughout America. But when Rosa Parks stepped on that Montgomery, Alabama bus on December 1st, 1955, she didn't set out to make history. She just wanted to get home. Montgomery's segregated buses had divided seating, white passengers in front, colored passengers in the back. Contrary to popular belief, Rosa was sitting in the back of the bus. But when the bus driver needed more seats for his white passengers, he ordered her and 3 others to vacate their seats. The others complied and moved, but Rosa quietly refused and was quickly arrested. Working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa's arrest sparked a highly effective citywide protest with African Americans boycotting city buses.
December 5th was the day the people stayed off in large numbers and did not ride the bus. In fact, most of the buses, I think all of them were just about empty.
Rosa's protest and resulting boycott didn't end segregation, but it sparked a movement that ended the racial system, paving the way for a more equal society. You're watching An American Moment.